Good morning and welcome to Life of Dave. Good morning, welcome to Life of Dave. Back down the boat Sunday morning, see what we can get done today. Right, so last time down, I glassed up these hatches. So these are all set up, ready for sanding. So I've got to take off all the wispies, sand that down, flatten it off, get that all nice and smooth, and that should hopefully leave me with enough glass there to seal up those holes so that they're not poking through, and basically give us a good seal over that, so when I drill the next holes, because they'll be right near them, it doesn't break through into them ones. That is the plan that I'm hoping will work. So we've got to do that today. It was all done inside and ready to gel coat. Still got the front one to finish glassing in. That's going to be a job for probably a Tuesday. It's quite cold today actually, and by the time I've cut out the glass, got that all stuck in, it's not going to go off in time for me to gel coat it, so I'm not going to start glassing that in place until such time as I can get on and do it. It's what, 8:30. I've probably got an hour or so down here as usual. It's on a Sunday morning, so yeah, I'm not really going to have time to get that glassed up. And like I say, it's very cold today, so I'll have to see if the weather's better on Tuesday. But for now, I'm just going to take care of these, see if I can get these ground down to somewhere near where I need them to be, and then I'll probably switch to hand sanding and a block and just finish them off so I can get them flat and smooth. And then I can look at maybe drilling the holes for the hinges. I've also got to sand this bit on here, just to get that to shape. I need to sort this out, put the hinges back on so I can try it on there to see how that fits, and then I can get this to the correct shape. That's what needs to happen, so I can't do that until I sort them, as well as taking care of the rest of it that needs sanding so it can be faired. That's an old metal block that I've been using as a flat edge, got a long straight edge to sand large areas. Well, that's pretty close now. But I still just feel that edge there. Got a very slight hump to it. That's pretty flat, very close to where I want. There's a little edge just built up there. So that's tiny. So I'm going to leave that like that with the electric sander, and I'll hit that with probably a bit of finer paper and a flat block. So I won't take that down any more than it is now. Let's do the other side. I'll go a little bit more on that one actually, feeling that. That's better. Yeah, that one's gone pretty darn flat, so quite happy with that. This one, I just feel a little edge, bit of texture there. That's in the glass, the original glass, in the gel coat. So be careful not to confuse the two. Yeah, this has got a bit of texture to it. I think that's pretty flat. A very light go over with some finer paper on a block will do that. Right, the other side. This side hasn't got to sit completely flat and perfect. This is just the back side, and this side doesn't sit against anything. But obviously I just want to get it looking as pretty as I can. because of the way I made the lockers, I've got this ridge down the centre of these, where the overlapping joints were of the radius corner that I put in, which give me this ridge all the way down the middle. So I've just taken that down a bit as well. So we've smoothed these off. There's a tiny little bit of indentation in the glass work there. Give me a tiny little edge there. Wish I could sand out a bit more. Right, just put a thin smear of fairing compound over that lot and just smooth that off, which I think is probably going to be the way to go. It feels pretty good now. I've lost that ridge that was there. It's a lot smaller anyway, I've lost most of it. So that's a big improvement there. A mess on the front there. But yeah, that's nearly done. Seems alright. Yeah, so that's a lot better, that side. So this side's pretty much ready to go. So that's just a thin smear of fairing compound over that, and that's finished. Right, just got to take care of the rest of them now. So this one's the one that had the little dent in, so that's number 2. That was number 1, I do believe. That's number 3. So I need to put my dots back on there so I know which one that is. That's number 1. Once they've been sanded off, I've lost my markers. And these all need to go in the right place. I'll need some new paper on there. I'm just going to take off the worst of the wispy bits and then we'll swap paper. Give that a change. So, pretty pleased with the back side there. Front side ain't bad. It's going to need a little bit of fairing. This corner here is a little rough. There's like a low spot there. The fact that's smoothed out there. Yeah, it's definitely a little low spot. There's a gap in there, so ain't a lot, just a tiny bit. Fairing will take that out. What I don't want to do, if I sand that down, I'll end up with, it'll taper away on that corner, so that I'll end up rounding that off. So I don't want it rounded off. So I'm going to leave that like that, and we'll take care of that with a little bit of fairing coming. It is very, very minor. It's not a lot there at all. So like I say, I'll be skimming all this with fairing compound and re-sanding it when it's all done. So that will be taken care of at that point. That is number 2. So number Right, that's number 3. There's all the wispy bits that have come off. Right, again, so the back side's nice. That'll be a little bit of fairing compound, won't take out on there. And I'm talking very thin smear, sand it back off again so you'll be able to see most of that glass and it'll just fill in any indentations. Again on the front, not bad. I've got these couple of scratches appeared. I think there was a little stone or something on there. I don't know if that's what's done that, but where it's vibrating with a sander, it's dug into it there and there. Like a little stone or something, and I think that's what's done that. I thought, what are these marks here? I see that hard on there, and if that's you know, vibrating, that's just gouged into the front. Problem with not having a workbench, you know. I'm just working where I'm working in all the crap. I think I'm close enough on that. I mean, obviously you'll feel a slight, very, very slight. I think I'm close enough on these. We have number 1, number 2, and number 3. 1, 2, 3. Keep me dots there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I've still got, see, I've got glass covering over the holes. So I've not sanded right through the glass. I had a very high build up, that thickness of that glass. So I've taken that down until I've reached the level of the original there. That little repair area, still got glass in there. So I can see that's built up with the glass now. This craziness on here, I think that's where I put the gel coat on. I didn't let it set enough before putting the glass on, so it imprinted through. But it's still pretty flat, it's not bad. That tiny little edge there will need sorting out. So that will be taken care of with fairing compound. I don't want to sand it out because, like I say, that will taper that in there. Will give me a little gouged out area. That's a little low spot there. A little tiny bit of fairing compound in there will sort that. Like I say, I don't want a lot of filler build up. I'm trying to keep the filler down to the minimum. So it will just be a very fine layer and sanded most of it off. So that the only bits remaining are just filling any little low spots. Most of it will be gone. I'm going to have a hinge over that, so you're not going to see much of it anyway. I just don't want any sort of hard edge that's going to stand out. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Right, so covers are done. I need to sand this filler up here and that down, and then need to look at drilling holes and getting the new hinges fitted without messing them up, hopefully. And I can get a cover fitted back in. If I can. This side compared to that side. I'm going to try the hinge on there to see how it sits. Right, get the hinges back on so I can work out how that sits. So that's got to sit flush on this side. Okay, so this bit is too much there. So the hinges are going there and there. So I can lose most of that. Doesn't need to be there. Really smaller block out there. This is my long board, but I'll sand this all the way completely, but it just looks like I've got too much build up this side to that side. It's not sitting level across the front, so I might take care of that visually. Now we're down to fine tweaking now, so there we go. Right, so that's that done. So now really what we need to do is sort out some hinges. Then I'll sort out if I need to take any more off the bottom. I did take a little bit off the bottom. I did take a little bit off the bottom whilst I was sanding these. There's a couple of little indentations and whatnots that will be taken care of with some fairing compound. But yeah, we're looking pretty good. So I can't have that sitting in the bottom like that when I put my hinges on. That's got to be sitting up where it needs to be. So I've got a reasonably even gap all the way around. I need to put the hinges on and then readdress the gap, I think. It's not bad. Yeah, I think we can live with that. I'll see how it fits, get the hinges fitted. I mean, that sits nicely in there like that. It's just that's the way it sits like when I get that hinge back on. If that pops out this corner again, or if that'll be alright. Right, so just trying to line up these hinges where I want them. Quite awkward with the spring as well. So I want it sitting on the centre of the barrel. Don't drill right through on your leg. I'm literally just marking these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill one and then I'll screw or bolt it in place before I drill the second one so that I can keep it still and drill it in exactly the right spot. If I try to drill both holes and then I put it on there and one of them slightly out, we end up back where we started. So I go ahead and drill it. Yeah. Right, I'm committed now. Trying to line that up, make sure I'm happy. where it's going to sit. Yes, I am. Already I can see that second hole would be very slightly out, a fraction, tiny amount, if I just drilled them where I've put that. So right, now I can drill these two through, and I need to fix the hinges on. Now I need something to put that on so I don't drill into my leg. Thread the board. Right, flip that over. I'm working out that hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I don't want it to break out on the back side. I want it to drill through, you know, smoothly, not forcing it. You feel when it goes through. You hear it, went into the wood. I don't want it to break out the back. There's a big hole there which smashes through that last bit. I wanted to drill through it all the way. So now I need to fix these on. Well, I've got some little nuts and bolts, but I don't think I've got any tools for them. So I think I'm going to have to screw it in for now. The only trouble with that is that pulls the glass up at the front. That's why another reason I don't really want to use screws. So I've got some nuts and bolts, like I say, but I'm pretty sure I've got no tools with me to do them up with. The little M, what are they, M3 I think they are. I don't want to pull this too tight, I just want to hold it in place. If you over tighten it, it starts lifting the glass, it puckers up on the front side. Just make sure this is perfectly aligned where I want it. That looks good to me. Okay, right. So this one. Looks good. I think this one dropped slightly on this side as it drilled. It looks straight when I look down this way, but looking at it that way it just looks a slight angle. It is very minor though, enough to worry about. This one's perfect, I'll make me with that. That one, yeah. Right, try that in the hole. See how we're looking. And with both of them fixed in. That is in! Yes! Sitting nice there. Both these hinges held down. There's no rattle. We have lost the rattle. So I know that this is good. I can fair this up without putting any build up on these areas here to make this all match. A bit high here because I've brought this out to tuck that in. It's made that slightly higher there, so I can fair this up slightly to match that. We're pretty good at the top. That side's not bad. This is slightly higher than that, but not bad at all. Quite a bit more there because I brought this out. If I take that back in, it's going to tip again, and we'll be back where we started. It might be I can take that in a wee bit. It could have been that if this one's out like that, I'll get that tip in as well. So I'll take that down a wee bit and see if I can get that a bit closer without that sticking out. But we're pretty good. So now all we're down to is a little bit of fine tuning, really. I'm taking a bit of that off. Keeping it flat if I can. And see how we look. And the original point of this was to build it up because this radius here, the hinges were coming off the bottom, you know. So the idea of that was to get this hinge plate something flat to sit on. So I've come down to the flat area, he's down to there. This was originally curving, and that was pulling the bottom of the hinge inwards. Wow, that's made a huge difference. That's pretty good there. If I don't have enough pressure on this side, it feels like it's there. But if I really push them in hard, that's back nicely. Yeah, a bit of a shame that hinge is just slightly cocked. But what I might be able to do before I drill these, if I nut and bolt this, I can elongate that one slightly up and tweak that round. I'm not going to drill that where it is. That to me is just too wonky. It ain't far out. I'm talking a tiny amount, but I'm just not happy with it. Literally, yeah, it's that. I can get it with the screw. So it is just that tiny bit. It might be that the screw head isn't quite going in perfectly straight like a bolt would. And as it's screwed in, it's just tweaking as it centralises on the screw. It's tweaked it down. That's much better. That's straight now. So I don't think my hole was out necessarily. I think it was as I put the screw in. The screw hasn't gone in dead central and it's just twisted it slightly. That literally just tweaking that little bit. That's now perfect. I'm happy with that. That is where I want it. So no, much better. That is one locker hatch pretty much fitted. There we go. So all we've got to do now is work out the alignment up and down to get the gap right top and bottom before I drill the hinge holes. This side I've got movement, this side's tight. So I've got no movement at the top of this. I think I need to take a little bit off the top. I've got a gap at the bottom except for where the hinge is here. So I think I need to take a little bit more out of the bottom to even this reveal up at the bottom. And I need to take a little bit off of this top to allow a bit of movement like on this side, because when I gel coat this is going to be a lot thicker, you know, both sides. But that is one hatch cover pretty much done really. So I can drill these holes on the bottom once I line that up. I don't want to drill them yet because that's not perfect, so I just need to address that. But we're pretty much there. There's a little bit needs to come off of there and a little bit off of there. Give me a bit of movement this side. I've got a nice gap that end now. That's pretty even all the way around. This end, like I say, is a little tight at the bottom here and there. Other than that, that ain't bad at all. Let's whip this hinge off. I'm just going to give this a little shave round. Let's get this one done and finished, and then I can drill and bolt it and fix it, and it's finished then. Rather than keep messing around one to the other. I want one of them done. Taking a little bit off the bottom, so I've removed the hinge. Sanded some off the bottom there and off that top section. So let's see what that fits like. Hopefully I ain't gone too much. Ooh, let's loosen it right up, that is. But much better. It looks even along the bottom there now. I've got a nice gap all the way along to there. A nice gap at the top there. Round the sides. That looks a lot better. A lot better indeed. So yeah, I can position that central there. It's much better. Just a case of tweaking it in the hole so it fits. There's a bit there, it's a little bit close. I think that's remove a little bit off of there. That looks like gel coat in that gap there. That's rounded up. I'll say when I gel coat it, that's going to fill this up, this gap. I do need to make sure when I gel coat this, I don't get a build up like a big rounded lip like I've got when I've
done the inside of the locker there. I've got a domed finish on this, so I need to make sure I just run a roll around there or something, get a nice coat but not a domed layer. You know, it needs to be flat in there and not like that, you know. So I've basically made this a lot smaller now, so I've got a big gap, which is what I was trying to avoid, was a big gap. But what I wanted was an even gap. It wasn't even before. So now it's not a huge gap, but it's more consistent around each end, you know, rather than big gap, tight spot, big gap. That's better. There we go. I've got a little bit more gap this side, but like I say, I think once I've gel coated that side and this side, that will take most of that out anyway. And I think it's just positioning that locker central now, like that, so I can mark and drill those holes, keeping those hinges central in that hole there. I'm going to mark these where that's sitting, like so. I'll do the same as I've done on the other ones. I'm going to drill one hole and leave the second one. Right, happy it hasn't moved. Mark that one. I'm really pushing on this hatch to keep it in place. There we go. Oh, God, literally cramping my wrist holding that. Yeah, see, like marking it, look, that ink's just run. Absolutely useless. Drilled through it, hasn't broke out the back. Beautiful. That's come out nice. I think, looking at that, I don't think I'm going to have any problems getting me nuts and bolts in there. I think it's come out all right. Woohoo! Try this. Now all I've got to do is get some sort of handles, like a little knob to go on there, so that's used to open the things. So I've not decided on anything yet. So I want something stainless, ideally marine grade stainless. I'm not going to tighten these in too hard because I don't want the screws to pull the fiberglass. These are very short, dumpy little stainless screws and a magnetic screwdriver that's absolutely useless because it won't stick to stainless. All I want to do is just fix this in place so we can have a look. There she sits. Happy there. That could go up a little bit. Funny that you line everything up, you think it's all perfect, and then no, it's not. I'll say I've gone slightly low at this end. This one's alright. I'm happy this end's alright. This end I think I've gone slightly low. Not a lot. Oh, I'm talking, yeah, foul. Tiny amount. It's acceptable. I'll say by the time I've painted this with gel coat, that'll close that gap right up. I think maybe I should have wedged something in there to give me that gap before drilling it. But there you go, live and learn, didn't you? And what I'll do is correct it slightly I say these are going to be nut and bolted, so I can elongate the hole slightly to give it some sort of adjustment. That's better. That's better like that. I think as I drilled that right one, it just moved. It just oscillated slightly and it moved down. I mean, it's not even half a mil. It's that minute. It's that small an amount that it just, you know, almost immeasurable. Got a lot of editing to do now. Half of that sanding I'll get rid of anyway, but that's better. Yeah. Right, so now I'm happy with me gap there. See this one, I can just re-drill slightly, I think. Scoop that out at the top. Like so. Let's keep my gap more even. It's straight across that top. That's much better. There we go. Right, that's ready for nut and bolting.